Thanks a lot for coming in.
Good morning. Happy to be here.
Something about this community appeals to you?
This is a wonderful place to live.
For Kelowna Now, this is Camp Mulgat. And we're joined by Mike Ross, who will soon be receiving the Prime Minister's Award for Excellence in Teaching.
Yeah, that's a bit of a mouthful, isn't it?
Yeah, must be nice, though, to be recognized for doing something special in the classroom.
Yeah, I think I've been at the game for 12 years, and I think this is definitely a milestone in my career, a culmination of things that I've been doing for 12 years.
Now, one of the things, statements that's been attributed to you is that you said that you will teach around the campfire. And this sort of leads into this shirt you're wearing right now.
Yeah.
You like to get kids out.
Yeah, exactly. So Quest BC has actually been a dream for 12 years. I sort of wrote a poem during my BEd, my teacher training, about building this community. And I was lucky enough when I was 19 to be on a gap year and being taught in Australia in a different way outside on the land. So I always wanted to bring that to my students. And I actually grew up in Joe Rich, halfway to Big White. So I was outside a lot. So it was kind of a natural thing. So the Quest BC Academy model is not new in terms of teaching pedagogy, but it's just new to Kelowna. We don't really have one yet.
Right.
Yeah.
So you actually can get kids around a campfire.
Oh yeah.
Find a way to do that.
The best, yeah. The first week we went to the Rockies, and you take everyone out of their comfort zone. You start building that community where you're all doing challenges, like you're hiking. You know the Lake Louise postcard?
Yeah.
Yeah, like the beautiful view. We
Right.
just walked into that postcard and around, and there's this like Tibetan tea hut at the top. And my co-teacher teaches geography. She's taught about glaciers her whole career. Well, this year we're up on that little perch and we hear
You can
thunder.
hear.
Yeah,
You can hear.
just a glacier.
Geology is happening.
Exactly. And so the kids are like, what is that? And Miss Mars, like, she was just beaming. She was just like, well, this is a glacier calving and this is an event. And so getting kids out there where they can see it and feel it and touch it and breathe it, and then they get their curiosities re-engaged, you know?
Right.
A lot of kids come into the school system with a ton of curiosity.
Okay, now there's going to be some parents that are saying, "Oh, there's Mike Ross. He's taking the kids out on some camping trip. What about the classroom? What are they missing out on?"
Well, that's interesting because we can learn 24/7 now, right? Like the bookends of the learning time are gone because you can take out your phone and learn whatever you want whenever you want. Yeah. So we're just re-engaging humans into human things, and all humans want to belong. All humans want to be curious. All humans need challenges. And so the model that we've done is we've sort of made that a priority. Like the belonging is key. So the campfire metaphor is when you're sitting around a campfire and you've got friends and music, and that's belonging. So we've just taken that feeling of belonging to something special, and we've made a classroom around that. So our classroom back at school is actually in a circle. So the desks are pushed to the side. Every morning we get together and we check in with each other. We're like, how are you? You know, how did the soccer game go? Some kids are going through some pretty crap stuff at home. We check in. So when you emotionally invest in the kids,
Right.
you feel like you belong. You feel like you can, the trust gets built. And then when you have trust, you can go way further when that relationship.
So the old style of teaching, where you stand at the front and you deliver a lecture, is just. I mean, I guess that is mostly obsolete. Some things are going to have to be lectured, but
Yeah, I have another role in the district where I'm a district coordinator and going into multiple different teachers to talk about entrepreneurship and innovation. So, yeah, the role of the teacher has changed. There are some times when the most efficient thing is to get a PowerPoint and just nail it, because it's just like, this is what you need to know. But that's evolved. And so in my practice, you have to have multiple tools. If you just stand and deliver PowerPoints all the time, I mean, in some courses, and some courses even at universities are still based around that. But the more direct experience and the more community that you build with the learners, I think that's where my specialty is.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, and even the way in which you ended up getting nominated for this award really sort of came back from the students that you set up on a task. Isn't that right?
Yeah, it was really interesting. I think also teachers, you know, after 12 years, you kind of realize that you're kind of human development officers, and developing humans takes a lot of energy, like emotionally. And so in a traditional role, there's so many kids. And so I got kind of burnt out by just giving. And it was this group of kids in my sustainability class that actually brought me back to sort of my core principles of sustainability and culture change. And they pulled me out of the sort of, I was on the sideline. I was kind of, 10 years at it, and I was feeling quite burnt. They pulled me back in, and these amazing students, we went on a trip to go down to see David Suzuki in Vancouver, a sustainability trip, and then they formed the Sustainability Club. And then from that, I got them into the iGen process, and then iGen is basically just trying to teach entrepreneurship and innovation. So they put a coffee shop together at OKM, and they wanted to solve climate change. And there's a great book called Drawdown that teaches you how to do that. But it's like between wind and solar or educating girls in Africa, all of those are solutions. So the girls decided to put a coffee shop together called Mission Roots. And it's a plant-based, zero-waste coffee shop. And when you go up to get a coffee, you choose your charity. So it's like, on my $2 coffee, $1.75 is going to put a solar roof on a place in Africa.
So this is designed and operated by
students.
Students.
Yeah, and so the entrepreneurship part, because in the face of these big challenges, you can just get kind of sidetracked and don't want to engage in them. But when you engage and you actually do action, so to follow the line with the students that nominated me, they built this coffee shop. They've raised about $17,000 in a year. 65% of that is profit, which is going straight to these charities. Then they get on their horse and they organize the climate march. They've gone down and gotten trained by Al Gore as a climate leaders. So these girls, and there's about 15 to 20 baristas, but 4 managers. They're just superstars. And they got rewarded, actually. So between the 4 founding girls, they've all received, between the 4 of them, about $350,000 in scholarships.
Amazing.
To UBC, SFU. So they're just all-stars. And when they nominate you, you get to win because they're the best.
Right. Okay. So here's a basic question that comes up with parents. Should their kids have their smartphones in the classroom or shouldn't they?
Yeah.
And I think you get back that some teachers are absolutely not and some teachers embrace it. And is there a right or wrong answer on that?
Well, to talk about the system, like the public system is amazing because you get different variety of people and they have a variety of skills and expertise. And on the cell phone thing, you get a variety of responses of how teachers want to deal with cell phones. I know for myself, in the Quest, so this is the newest iteration of my classroom, we negotiate what that policy looks like because once again, you build that trust in the circle. And then we had a 2-hour conversation of like, when is it appropriate? When can you self-regulate yourself? When can you not? Because Snapchat and these Instagram things, like I've got a teenage son now too, and it's just a constant, it's always on. And they will, and I remember growing up on the phone, trying to talk to a friend because that's what their needs are. They want to connect. So I'm not going to, you realize that they're social beings at that stage. They need to connect. But we negotiated after 2 hours of, my other colleague was giving the research around distraction and stealing from the learning.
Right.
So we negotiated that the students can use it when they're needing it for music and they need to tap into the music so they can do their work. But almost in any other context, if it's group work or if it's we're direct lecture, it's parked on the side.
So you get the students to arrive at that conclusion on their own. So you sort of you kind of tricked them. You got them to set their own restrictions. So
well, and then it's easier to enforce when you're like, hey, and we write it on the wall. This is our community code. This is what we all signed off on. It's buzzing in your pants and you're looking at it. So put it over, park it, so the distraction is gone. But it's a battle though. It's not going away. So you have to deal with it.
And like you said, different teachers have different approaches, right? And that's something students have to learn that that not everyone is going to have the same approach, and you have to adapt to different classroom sets of rules, just like life.
Totally.
So, but I mean, you look at the list of things that you instruct in: careers, Quest, entrepreneurship, outdoor education. It's you got some fun stuff there. Yeah. No, and I think the one I'm most proud of, it was a tenure at the helm was the Lake O'Hara program. Right.
So if you're from the Okanagan Mission area, it's been going for 43 years.
Like my camera guy, Nick, there.
Yeah.
How did he do on the?
Oh, he came back alive. It's a challenge.
He said there was more snow than they expected.
That's true. We've had some lake snow hares. It's been climate change has given us some challenges, but no, yeah. So it's 100 this year. It's 150 students. There's about 40 parents, volunteers, teachers. So it's getting up to about 200 kids, and they go to the Rockies for a week, and it's that coming of age kind of event. The walkabout experience.
And I imagine for some of those kids with their families, they've gone on trips, maybe something like that. But for some of them, this is something like they've never done before.
Oh yeah, it's great. We get international students that join the mix. We get Brazilians that have never seen snow. It's the main three tenets are to push yourself. So the tenet of like there's more in you than you think. So you have to give them real challenges, because kids and people know real and fake real. But when you're out on the mountain for a week and you've got everything on your back, that's real, and you got to become really responsible. The other tenet is like conservation and recognizing our national parks are our cathedrals in Canada. So they get to learn that ethic of, zero trace camping, look after the earth.
Right.
And then the third one I love is busting cliques since 1976. So there's the social harmony of cohesion where we stick them from, you can pick a partner that you're going to tent with, but then we mash them together as a grad group,
right?
And that really, I think, bonds the you rekindle relationships you may have had in earlier years, or you find new friends when you're out there.
So it sounds like a fantastic experience in and of itself. But when you get back to the classroom, what do you now have in some of those students? How have they been changed by the experience?
Yeah, I think another experience I do is called the Salt's Tall Ship. So we take the kids out sailing for a week. And people describe that as the best, week of their high school, because they realize that the hallways of high school can be really mean, and social media can be even meaner. And when you strip that away, you stick them in a new environment, and you challenge them with something like, everyone's got to raise that sail. This is a big windstorm. We've got to sail through that. They realize that their petty differences are not really that important. And then when they come back, they are different people. And there's countless people that say when kids have come back from SALTs or come back from a Lake O'Hare experience, that they're changed. They've elevated, they've realized that their day-to-day just dramas are not really there.
Right.
So I think kids need challenge.
Yeah,
they need real challenge.
I think the old school view on motivating a student is work hard and you get good marks, misbehave and you will be punished.
Yeah.
But there's other ways to get through.
Oh yeah, I have kids with ADHD and all these different diagnoses, and you get them out there and you're like, hey, who wants to look after the fire? That's the kid, and he does the best job. He's community, he's cutting the wood, he's stacking the wood, he's keeping the fire.
And he's keen because you've gotten through to him by making...
And he's responsible. And the regular classroom walls, I'm here to tell you, like 20 to 30% of the kids are not meant to be in that setting. But we have to keep them there because it's the way the system works.
Right.
So by getting them out of that setting, and it's not just me, there's other educators that are doing whatever they can to try and change the environment so that the kids that, it's the old factory that was built up based on the English system. We got to sort of break that factory down and sort of do startup school and just do different stuff.
So does the ideal classroom or the ideal teacher even resemble what that was, even when you were in school?
Oh, hell no.
It's
when you've got the world's information on your palm, you'd be irrelevant if you kept the old ways up.
Right.
So you got to evolve, you got to adapt.
That must be really hard for a lot of teachers. They have to teach in a way that they never saw when they were a student.
Oh no, but that's the reality of all of us too, right? We have to just adapt and like I say, when you break it down, a teacher is just a human development officer. And so if you invest in the humans, and then you have all these tools, and you just sort of help that student evolve and grow. The final exam question for Quest is, how did you grow? And we have a wheel of like social, emotional, physical, intellectual, spiritual, and they get to examine how they've grown in those different areas.
Right.
So they're getting intellectual, like they're getting their environmental science, their English, their geography. They're getting those core academic subjects. They're getting outdoor ed. They're getting business studies. They're getting their career life career life. So they get 7 credits, and it's like, how did you grow? You came in, and then you did all these experiences, and at the end, how are you different? And some kids had PowerPoint, some kids wrote music, some people did videos. We had a kid carve a totem pole and show his evolution of his as a student. So yeah, the assessment, it's all changed. Universities now, you do need a certain level of grades, but all those students that could say on their resume, we started a nonprofit cafe where all the proceeds went to climate change. That's how they won the $350,000, is because it's the stuff you do outside the class.
And I would imagine that what you're going to be most proud of when you get this award is that it was your own students that nominated you.
You're gonna make me cry now. I get pretty choked up.
That is awesome.
It is. I mean, my mom was dealing with some cancer, and she's now cancer-free. But as a son, you're there beside her, and then you're like, how else do you help? And anyways, when I gave her that 28-page paper on me, written by my students, it was pretty cool. Yeah. I'm a weeper. I'm a proper weeper.
Me cry. All right.
Yeah. So mom's cancer-free, and that's good. And my students were just like, they were there for me, and it's kind of that relationship.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming in, Mike.
All right.
And thank you for watching Kelowna Now.